Hello, everyone. So, welcome to another Wellness Wednesday. And you might see me kind of going from side to side. Right now, I am trying to do two things at once, which is three things at once is feed the baby and be live on two different platforms at the same time. So, this week is Maternal Mental Health Awareness Week, if you did not know. And today actually is kind of like a world or national mental health day. But we are observing Maternal Mental Health Awareness Week. You may have seen my post at around or about four something this morning when I was up feeding Selah and changing her, which is what mothers do. Um, but I wanted to have this live just to kind of one continue with our Wellness Wednesdays as we've tried to kind of keep you all posted and updated on our page and what's going on, as well as recognizing when there are moments or times where we can be aware of what's going on with mothers. So Maternal Mental Health Awareness Week actually started in 2014, and it was a campaign that was created to try to bring about awareness about maternal mental health disorders like postpartum depression, which a lot of people kind of are more familiar with nowadays, but not a lot of people know about. There's also, the potential to have this postpartum anxiety as well. So the goal is just to bring awareness. And so, although I did not necessarily experience postpartum depression or anxiety in terms of maybe to the extent where it's a diagnosis where you might need medication, there were moments where, again, you have the baby blues. I think traditionally most people that have children, or a lot of people at least that I've talked to, experience the baby blues. As well as like some type of anxiety. So especially for me when I was still in the hospital, and particularly with me having like a C-section, and Selah actually, I don't know if all of you know, but some people might know that Selah was in the NICU when I first had her. And so I experienced some anxiety about like her safety. So I was nervous about like, was she okay? What was going on? I wasn't able to breastfeed. They they ask you how do you want to feed your child before they take them, and then they take them in the NICU and they're hooked up to machines, and they have to they feed them formula because they tell you, hey, what do you want to do, and they act like it's okay. Oh, all you have to do is pump or feed the baby, and then your baby is in the NICU and they have someone else watching the child for you. And so I remember feeling again really anxious and nervous. I remember again one time waking up in the middle of the night, like in a like panic, like where's my baby at? Um, and I think Trent was in the room, and he asked me something like, I think he may have explained where she was because they take them to do these tests, and so he told me that, and I was like, I remember not wanting her to be out of the room. This is after she had came back, again after she was out of the NICU, and so he was like, "Do you want me to go tell them to bring her here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want my baby." And so it was interesting to think about like what happens for again people who are experiencing again this a greater level of anxiety than I did, which again I would say mine may have been more common. Again, it didn't last more than maybe a couple of days, the days while I was in the hospital. But again, it's an experience that people have, and so I think it's awesome that they came up with this awareness week. And if you've been joining our page, you can see that we've been trying to participate in like these campaigns that really make a difference. I think it's important for us to acknowledge that like I said, women experience a lot after childbirth, or on the journey to childbirth, or as they are looking to become mothers. And I don't think there's enough support. I don't want to say there's not a lot, but there's not always enough support, and in particularly among the Black community. And I think that's what for Black and brown people, that's what we are trying to do here is promote and acknowledge that people that are Black and brown don't often have the support that other people have. And so that's kind of the goal, is to bring awareness, to make it known that people are suffering, people are experiencing or having some challenges, and that's okay. Um, and for me, what was helpful was having like my sister who has two young children there to tell me, oh yeah, this happened with me. Or when I was in the hospital, this is how I felt. And so that was reassuring that, okay, I'm not crazy. So I don't know, again, if any of you have or were feeling crazy at any point when you were just giving birth or again in the hospital, but I know I had moments like that. And so, like I said, this for me is important for us to continue to again bring about awareness, to make change. Hey, Kendo, I see your wave. um, and Tony, hey, yes, you said you did. Yes, we experienced these feelings and emotions. Um, So for me, I think it's helpful and healthy for us to have an open dialogue and conversation. So the aim is to, again, of this Maternal Mental Health Awareness Week, the aim is to actually combat stigma and shame through mass social media reach. And so if you again saw my post from 4 a.m., that's me being as raw and real as I can, being up at 4 o'clock in the morning when I have work and had to be up for work in within 3 hours of that time. But I was up changing diapers and feeding. And I have met a couple people that say their babies sleep through the night. I'm not one of those people. This little one likes to wake up every couple hours still at this point. She doesn't always wake up to eat, but she's still up pretty frequently. So one thing I think for me is learning and adjusting to the individuality of your child too. Because I think we will get information like, oh, if you give the baby some oatmeal, the baby will stay asleep. Or if you make sure she has a fresh diaper, or you got to have a baby have a routine and make sure you give her a bath and read bedtime stories. And I could do all those things, and she will still be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, like clockwork. And so I think sometimes it's hard because in the beginning it felt like, well, am I doing something wrong? Like, is it something I'm doing that I can change or I can do better or differently? And for me, it was learning how to accept that this is my experience. My experience is not going to be the same as everyone else's. It's okay, validating and saying it's okay that this is what your experience is like. You don't have to be like everyone else. Your experience is not my experience. I can give you advice or suggestions or what worked for me, but it's not necessarily, again, my job to make you try to feel like I feel or think the way that I think. Um, so for me, and again for us at Selah, I think it's just about awareness. It's continuing to open up the dialogue, to have conversations. Again, helping people to feel comfortable sharing. As a therapist, that's one thing that one part of my job is trying to make people feel comfortable and not judged and feel like, you know what, I can say this thing and it may sound crazy, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Again, I can talk about my own story. I don't know if anyone has ever had a C-section or any type of major surgery where you have a scar. So having a C-section was my first major surgery, and it hurt really bad. And afterward, and now I still have a scar from it. It's like almost like a keloid. So again, being honest and sharing the truth. But when that first happened and I came home with Selah, every time I would change her diaper, she liked to kick her little legs. And she would be kicking. And at some point, I felt like she was aiming for that scar intentionally. I mean, I know she's a baby and she didn't know, but it seemed like every time I tried to change her, she would kick me in my. She would kick me. Sorry, baby girl. She would kick me in my scar, and it would hurt really bad. And it was to the point where I was like, Selah, what are you doing? Like, mommy is trying to recover and you're hurting me. And of course, like I said, she didn't know what she was doing, but the pain was pretty unbearable. And I remember having to tell like Trent, tell my husband, you got to get her because she's kicking me in my stomach. And it makes me want to kick her back. And again, you can't say stuff like that. Like, people will be like, you want to kick your baby? And totally miss the point is I just had major surgery. Again, a C-section is major surgery, and I don't think it's often seen as such or that we recognize it as such, but it's major surgery. And can you imagine having a scar, getting cut open, having that scar or that opening sewn together, stitched together, having bandages on it, and having some little feet kick you. And mind you, babies don't know their strength. So me feeling like she's kicking me on purpose or that it hurts and I want her to hurt too. Right? Is that okay to say? Right? How many people can say that and think like, this sounds a little crazy? Again, I'm not trying to abuse my child or hit my child, but this hurts. I just want her to know that she's hurting me. And so I'm saying all that to say that I think we need to have more open spaces like this that are honest, that are open, that are non-judgmental, and that give you a chance to say, this is what motherhood might look like, right? So the campaign for this year is making over motherhood. So I think for me, what that means to me is readjusting our ideas and thoughts about what motherhood is, right? Or what motherhood looks like. On TV, you always have the perfect moms, right? The Claire Huxtable, is that her name? But Bill Cosby, the Cosby Show. You have the perfect moms that do everything right, that are always there, pick up the baby, to do things for the children, and there's never room for mistake, right? So for me, like, it was an adjustment to have to go back to work. And then I feel guilty because I'm supposed to be taking care of my child and I'm supposed to be there and she needs me, but I have to, go to work. And so what does that mean for a working mom? On TV, again, they never show the in-between time. They don't show the mom at work thinking about the child, trying to figure out what she's going to do, having to pump. So all of those things are things that I think are, again, a part of motherhood that aren't talked about and we aren't expressing to each other, right? No one's sitting with you telling you, when you're at work and you're in between clients, here is a way in which you can, I don't know, speed up milk production so you can pump and be ready for the next client within, again, 10 minutes. And people aren't always considerate of that. No one is saying, oh, we understand that Dr. Richardson has to pump, so let's tell our client to, could she please wait for 5 minutes? The expectation is for me to still, again, do my job. So that's another one of those things. What does this look like for working moms? So I just wanted to come on here briefly, not necessarily be here long, just to share a little bit about this campaign or this maternal mental health, that things happen, that mothers, have difficult challenges, and it can be a challenge to be a working mom, but also a mother in today's society where the expectation is for us to, be involved and do all these things. And how do you do that? How do you do it well? How do you do it non-judgmentally where you don't have to be perfect? Again, I think that was another part of this campaign, is reminding people motherhood isn't perfect. I don't look perfect. I don't feel perfect. I make mistakes, and is that okay? And when you need help and support, how do you ask and how do you get the support you need? So I'm hoping that today and this week forward and moving forward beyond the week, that we can continue to live up to this idea of making over motherhood. So I'm going to continue to post throughout the week about my experience in motherhood, and I hope that you all enjoyed my picture and enjoyed this conversation. Rakisha, are you still there? I don't know why you're not on here. I told you that I was going live and I didn't hear from you. We will chat, and if anyone else has anything they want to say, you all are welcome. I look forward to your comments. I try to comment when I can, or if I see them when I get a chance. If anyone has any other thoughts or ideas, about what could be said or done, or things that could help promote this making over motherhood, or what motherhood looks like for you. I didn't nominate you. Join in on the campaign and the hashtag is making over motherhood, and you'll see the post. I've read a few of them. Some people really experience some challenges with motherhood. And so I hope that we can, again, continue to support each other and support one another. And then for us at Selah, continue to look out for our projects. We have an event coming up May 14th. We'll be out in Baltimore, Patterson Park, and we'll have our information. We'll have information about what's going on with us, what's new with us, and we look forward to seeing you then. All right, I hope you all have a good night. And thanks, Kendall. I will see you all later. Bye.